Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. And our top story today, giving students the foundation they need for future financial success. Well, Tanya, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk.
Yeah, and we're going to be talking about financial literacy today. And I guess my first question is we unpack all the work that you and Goalsetter are doing, along with your collaborators, your partners. Why is financial literacy so important? Why is now the time that we need to deliver this education to so many Americans, young and mature?
You know, Jeff, that's such an interesting question because there are multiple answers to that question. And the interesting thing about the answers are they probably hit every single person that you talk to and every single person in America. And these folks are different. Some of them have a lot of money, right? Those folks, they may say, hey, well, financial literacy is important to me because I have a kid who I don't want to stay on my couch forever. I want my kids to be financially independent. I've worked very hard throughout my entire life to give them some sense of generational wealth or some portion of generational wealth. But generational wealth without generational knowledge doesn't exist. Because 90% of wealthy families lose their wealth by the third generation. 78% of wealthy parents say they don't trust their kids with an inheritance. And so for those families, it really is about how they can create a legacy, and they can't create that legacy without giving their kids financial education. So that's on one end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, but really quickly, on the other end of the spectrum, there are people who are wealth seeking. And for them, financial education is truly the key to unlocking a different life for their families. When you think about people who are just the average person in America, 40% of every American can't scrape together $400 in the case of an emergency, right? If I ask them what's an emergency fund and how much do you need in an emergency fund, I guarantee you a significant percentage of them probably couldn't answer that question either. And so having financial education for those folks who want to have a different life for themselves and for their kids is critical so they even know where to start.
And I have to think that given today's economic circumstances, you look at the market, a lot of volatility, and I continually talk to guests like yourself where people are facing higher cost of goods, gasoline, rent going up. It's even more prescient to be able to understand just the basic concepts so that you can mitigate these higher costs.
100%. It's really interesting that in America we talk about the democratization of investing. And there are companies like Robinhood that have truly, in many ways, quote unquote, democratized investing because, 20 years ago, if you asked the person, would you like to invest? They would say, yes, but I don't really know how. I don't have a financial advisor. I'm not connected with anyone on Wall Street. I don't know how to do that. Now, if you ask the average person, do you know how you can invest? The average person would probably say, yeah, I can go to a website like Robinhood, or I can go to, an online provider to enable me to do that. But they still don't know what they're doing, and they still don't know how to do it. So to your point, at this time when the economic uncertainty is closing in on all sides of us, the last thing you need is someone who has the capability of investing, but doesn't have the knowledge for how to do so, because they're going to put all of their eggs into like, hey, I heard my friend at work talking about Amazon I should buy Amazon now. Amazon's low. So I put all of my money in Amazon. And then they lose that money and they're in worse shape than they were before. And that really is where we are as a nation. We have the democratization of this access, but we don't have the democratization of knowledge, and that's going to lead people to a really bad place.
Yeah, and you point to Robinhood. I'm thinking of, as you're talking, I'm thinking about GameStop, AMC. Some people made out, but a lot of people did not. And I'm also thinking about some of the crypto investors maybe got in when it was at 20, 25,000 or 35,000, whatever the number was. Now it's not doing as well. It's about the long term. Let's talk a little bit about educating people, because it's not just mature Americans, it's not just college age Americans. How do you do this at the school, the high school area group of children? How do you educate those people? I can't get it out, but you know what I mean.
Listen, that's okay. You can't get it out, but for the past 50 years, we've been trying to get financial education into school systems, and that hasn't been working. And the reason that hasn't been working is primarily because we have a lot of people who are interested in and invested in getting this education to kids, but those people don't necessarily know how to engage and excite kids. They're two completely different worlds. When's the last time you walked into, your local bank or talked to your local banker and they made financial education fun? They don't. I mean, they're great at what they do for a reason. They're bankers. They're not teachers. They're not entertainers. So what we're doing at Goalsetter is, my background is that I come from Nickelodeon and Discovery Education and ESPN. So I have a really strong background in education meets entertainment meets gamification. And we are bringing key financial concepts into high schools across America, middle schools across America, and even elementary schools by making them fun. So we have videos that are TikTok-like videos. They are written by comedy writers. They are informed by financial educators and financial professionals. But we know that in order to make this whole notion of finance fun, we've got to bring it to kids in a way that they want to see it. And this is the TikTok generation. They don't want to watch, a 50-minute video. They don't want to hear an hour-long lecture. They're like, give it to me in 5 minutes or less, preferably 3 minutes or less. Make it fun, make it entertaining, and then let's move on to the next topic. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I 100%, we agree with you 100%. Tanya, I need to take a very quick break, and we come back and we'll talk more about getting financial education into the classrooms and a lot more. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-504-8194.
Well, Tanya, thanks so much for sticking around for segment 2. Really appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you. I'm so excited for this conversation. It's
Yeah,
important.
this is exciting. It's exciting for me. Now, look, financial literacy education, it has been adopted by some states, but not all. And I know you and the Goalsetter team are working in multiple states and multiple districts. Why do you think we haven't gotten to a place where we know it's a problem, we know people need money? Is it just that on the legislative agenda, this is like number 5 or number 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and there are other more pressing issues? Why can't we get to all 50 states and the U.S. territories adopting this as curricula for their students?
That question has befuddled me for a long time, Jeffrey. And, the good news is that this is starting to take hold. And we are actually finding that financial education for students is one of the few topics that both Democrats and Republicans can agree upon. Everybody actually thinks we need it. And so, we are seeing states like Florida and Georgia and Michigan begin to implement these statewide initiatives that require high schoolers to take financial education classes before they leave high school. But the interesting thing is that even in those states where it's not a part of a legislative agenda, we are seeing communities that are saying, look, my kids are coming out of high school and they know the elements of the periodic table, and what percentage of our kids are actually going to go into a field where they need to know the periodic table? Some small subset, right? But my kids are not coming out of high school understanding the rule of 72 or a stock versus a bond or compound interest or APR versus APY. And what percentage of our kids literally need to know those concepts in order to be financially successful? 100% of them. And so we are seeing parents that are saying, this is important for our kids. We're seeing teachers, we're seeing superintendents who are saying, it doesn't matter whether or not the legislation has happened, we are still going to do this for our children. And that's one of the powerful things, right? In Clayton County, Georgia, as an example, the statewide mandate takes effect in 2024, 2025. But Clayton County said, we think this is so important that we want to move even earlier. So their superintendent there, Dr. Beasley, contracted with us to train all of their senior class this year. So 2 years ahead of the statewide mandate because they thought it was so important. So it really is about just, going to those places and winning the hearts and minds of the parents, the teachers, and the educators who are saying, this is critical for our kids, and we want to work on delivering financial education to them in a way that they've never seen it before.
Yeah, and it really is. I mean, it gives parents another tool in their education arsenal, if you will. Maybe pretty bad analogy, but you know what I mean. Gives them an opportunity. So if you're not seeing it at the state level, you can go to your school superintendents. You can go to the people that run your school board and bring this up. There's no harm in doing that. And I bet you could get as you said, get a coalition of people, of families to support this. And, where it takes a village, right? So you kind of lift it up from there.
Absolutely. I mean, the funny thing about it is it's not just parents. Kids want this too. If you walk into a room full of kids and say, how many of you like science? I guarantee you about half of them will raise their hands. You say, how many of you like English? The other half will raise their hands. But if you say, how many of you like money? Every single kid in that room is going to raise their hands. And now more than ever, kids are starting to talk about stock and investing and Bitcoin. They're seeing it all in their social media feed. They're seeing, influencers and celebrities who are talking about it, and they want to be more informed about it. Today, they're getting their information from TikTok. Why wouldn't we want to give them their information from a credible source through a vehicle where we can guarantee that they're not just learning, hey, Bitcoin can make you rich. They're learning, hey, Bitcoin is risky, and might it be a part of an overall investment strategy? Sure, but it's an overall investment strategy where a small percentage of your dollars will go into crypto, and most of your investments will be long-term investments that are far less risky, right? We want them to have that latter message, not the former one of Bitcoin will make you rich, you're missing out.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that water cooler talk or so-called water cooler talk and that, the get rich quick schemes. It doesn't work. It really is a long-term process. I guess my last question for you, Tanya, we could go on for hours and we'll probably have to have you back to talk more about this. But, we need to be lifelong learners in so many ways in our jobs. When it comes to history, learning about history so we don't repeat it. Education about financial literacy, it's the same way. So you're not going to walk out just by watching one course and being financially literate, right? It's going to take succession and continuous evolution and learning about these important concepts. And by the way, if you're a parent, if you're my age, if you're 50 years old, you can learn something or refresh yourself because you don't know it all.
Before we started our conversation, Jeffrey, you saw my 6-year-old who walked in here onto camera. What you didn't see is that I have a 17-year-old, I have a 12-year-old, an 11-year-old, and that 6-year-old. And so for me, financial education is not just about one class one day or one lesson one day. It is about teaching my kids concepts from the time that they're young until the time that they leave my house, so that they can be literally financially fluent by the time they leave my house. It really is like teaching them another language. And, the app that I launched, Goalsetter, we absolutely take that same language learning kind of philosophy. We don't just have a debit card for your kids as an example. We have a debit card that has financial education quizzes attached to it. And so every week your kid will get a different financial education quiz, kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. It's mapped to their particular age level. And that quiz, they have to score 8, 9, or 10 in order to open up the next week's quiz. They have to get 8, 9, or 10 on this week's quiz right. But more importantly, you as a parent can set up a rule called learn before you burn. On Sunday morning, your kid's debit card will automatically freeze if they haven't taken their financial literacy quiz for the week yet. The minute they take the quiz, the card will unfreeze again. If you're nicer than I am, Jeffrey, you can set up learn to earn instead, and you can pay your kids for every quiz question they get right. And so the point is, we do believe that it is a lifelong process, and that every week there's another little dose of financial education that you can get. There's a young lady here in Brooklyn where I am who uses Goalsetter. She's 13 years old, and NBC News interviewed her and said, "What do you love best about Goalsetter?" And she has a debit card, right? We see so many kids running around with a debit card, and they're so excited about their debit card. She has hundreds of dollars on her Goalsetter savings account. We see lots of kids who are excited about their savings. She said, "The thing that I love best about Goalsetter is that it teaches me things about money I never knew I was supposed to know. I thought money was all about saving some and spending some, but now I know it's about frugality and compound interest and the rule of 72. Yeah. And when you have a debit card and a savings account that's teaching your kids those concepts, then you know that you're setting yourself up and your kids up for a path of financial freedom. Yeah. Not just by teaching them how to spend, but by teaching them how to be the next generation of saver and investor and not just consumer. And we believe that that's core to what we do.
Yep, those are so important principles, and it really speaks to the heart of America and being financially secure and remaining independent. Tanya, we're going to have to leave it there. Great work. Great to talk to you. Thanks so much. We look forward to having you back on the program again very soon.
Thank you for having me. Enjoyed being here.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to? Drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the latest curated news and lifestyle, wellness, finance, tech, entertainment, so much more, and all in one place. That's right. Check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Want to search our archives, check out our latest content? Well, visit our website and, of course, all of our streaming partners. We're back again tomorrow for another edition of BRN AM. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes. Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.